In New York City, Democratic socialist Zohran Mamdani won the mayoral race. Joining us to discuss is Bobbie Anne Cox, a New York attorney and legal analyst, and also a fellow at the Brownstone Institute. Bobbie Anne, always good to see you. Good afternoon. Can you give us your initial reactions here to the results of Mamdani winning?
Well, I think most New Yorkers are stunned, at least the New Yorkers that have common sense. This man who has now won the mayorship of New York City is, a young 34-year-old who has never held a real job in the real world. He is currently a sitting assemblyman representing his district of New York City up in Albany in the New York State Assembly. But he's only held that position for about 5 years. And from what I understand, on his voting record, he's missed a large majority of the votes in the assembly. So, this is really stunning. He is a self-proclaimed socialist, but when you listen to what he is proposing and you listen to the roadmap that he sees for New York City, many of his policies are actually more Marxist than they are socialist. As if socialism wasn't bad enough for the largest city we have in our nation. It's stunning. And there are a lot of New Yorkers, particularly small business owners, who are concerned with what comes next because the platform that Mamdani has run on is really a progressive far left platform saying he wants, free buses, free childcare. He wants to freeze the rent so landlords can't increase rent on New York City tenants. He wants to ban private property ownership. He wants to seize the means of production, meaning the government would control the production of goods. He wants to close prisons. He wants to shift funding within the police department away from the police and people that keep you safe on the street and put it more towards, the social health of New Yorkers. So these are really scary things. Of course, he's going to apparently raise taxes on the rich in New York City to do all of this. But yeah, this is stunning and quite concerning for many New Yorkers.
So, Bobbie Anne, can I get your comments on Mamdani getting half the vote, 50%? And he said in his victory speech that he emphasized a mandate for change. How do you see all this?
Yeah, well, the laundry list I was just running down is exactly the change he is envisioning for New York. He wants the wealthy to pay for all of the services across the board for those that do not fall in that tax bracket. He garnered 50% of the vote, as you said. And, in his acceptance speech last night, he credited his win to all these different, people that live in New York City from various countries around the world. He did not give credit to actual, native-born Americans, native-born New Yorkers for his win. So he obviously appealed to the foreign-born New Yorkers, and he said it in his speech last night. He actually is a recent citizen of our country. He only became a citizen in 2018. Even though his family moved here when he was 7 years old. And he's still a citizen of Uganda, which is his home country where he was born and raised until he was 7. So he has dual citizenship, and which, questions allegiance. And he has made it very clear that, he will take from the rich and give to the lesser, well-endowed New Yorkers. And it's very concerning. He really is proposing radical change, which I think many realize is negative radical change, not positive, because it will just plunge New York City further into debt. And you will see a mass exodus. I mean, just massive numbers of New Yorkers fleeing New York City. And when that tax base leaves, he's not going to have many people left to tax. So this is going to be a huge problem that we see going forward.
So I want to get your thoughts on what you think potentially whether there might be legal challenges that could face Mamdani when he's trying to implement the policies that you just mentioned earlier.
Absolutely. He's going to be facing, I'm sure, many a legal challenge in the months and years to come. I mean, for example, he said he wants to provide free buses in New York City. Well, the mayor does not control the MTA, right? The Metropolitan Transportation Authority is controlled by New York State at the state level, not the mayor at the city level. So if he wants to make buses free, which, by the way, would cost approximately, upwards of $500 million a year, that would have to come from Albany, from the New York State legislature and the governor. That's not something that Mamdani has the power to do. Same thing with, if he's going to try to freeze the rent, and do rent stabilization laws or whatever he has planned, that's going to have to come from Albany. That's not something that the mayor of New York City has unilateral power to do. If he starts to do these things, I am sure he's going to be faced with legal challenges. Same thing with the raising of the taxes. It's approximated that if he does all of these freebie programs that he's talking about, freezing the rent, free childcare for all, free buses, transportation. If he does actually try to implement all of this, it's going to cost New York City an additional $9 billion with a B, $9 billion a year to implement these things. So, where is he going to get that money from? He can't unilaterally raise taxes on the wealthiest New York City dwellers. That's not a power that he has. That has to come from Albany. I'm sure we are going to be seeing many legal challenges coming at him.
Okay, so Bobbie Anne, while I have you here, I really wanted to get your thoughts on something I noticed about the ballot. So Mamdani's name appears twice on the top of the ballot, right? And Cuomo is, sort of off to the side of the ballot. And I even saw Eric Adams' name still on the ballot, even though he's not running anymore in that election. I'm just wondering if there's anything to be said about that.
Yeah, so I know that was a big question that was, racing across social media platforms yesterday. So what happens in New York State, this is statewide, not just in the city, is that since the 1940s, you can cross-endorse a candidate, meaning that more than one political party in our state can endorse the same person for office. And so when that happens, you will see that person's name on the ballot more than once. You'll see them listed for each party that they garnered the endorsement from. So in the case of Mamdani, you saw him under the Democrat and under the Working Families parties. Same thing. If you get on the other side, if you get the endorsement from, let's say, the Republican Party and the Conservative Party, you will then see your name on the ballot twice under each of those. So it is something that is, quote unquote, legal in New York State because the law passed in the 1940s. But I understand the outrage from many people saying that it's unfair. Because if you see, just psychologically, if you see somebody's name on the ballot more than once, it makes you think that the person is either more important or more powerful or more likely to win. So I do understand that concern. And then as far as Eric Adams being on the ballot, even though he dropped out of the race weeks ago, that is because there is a deadline to actually drop out of a political race. And he missed that deadline. So when he dropped out, the deadline had passed, and therefore the ballots were already in print. And so his name still appeared on the ballots, which was probably confusing to a lot of people because it's not common knowledge that there's a deadline. And even if you drop out after the deadline, your name is still going to be on the ballot. And as far as where you saw Andrew Cuomo's name on the ballot, again, that is all dictated by policy and law. The top names, the first party is going to be the party whose candidate garnered the most results or the highest number of votes in the last election. So that's why you couldn't really find his name. It was kind of tucked in the corner, and he wasn't in one of the major Democrat or Republican parties.
Well, okay, Bobbie Anne, I do believe that is our time today. It is always great to speak with you. Thank you.
Yes, thanks for having me.